welcome to Pakistani Profile. My guest for today is a technopreneur and has had almost a decade of experience when it comes to the web industry. He is currently the chief texter at Textually. Let's welcome Faizan Laghari. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good to have you on our show, Faizan.
My pleasure.
Before we get on to your professional life, let's talk a bit about your personal life. Tell me about your education and how has your childhood been?
Well, I was actually in an all-boys school, in a Parsi school, by the way. So very strict, 10 years of my life there. But that actually gave me enough focus to, instead of focusing elsewhere, we studied Dil Se and all that. After that, since I was a commerce student, I was aiming to actually get into chartered accountancy and whatnot. But obviously, things didn't go as planned. So
Right. So how did you put up with all the disciplinary actions that happen at normally Parsi schools? They're very strict.
Well, at that time, I guess nobody enjoys it. But now that I actually look back at it, I think I appreciated it a bit more.
Right. So your education, what have you done?
I actually did my bachelor's in business in IT.
Right. And that was from some foreign university?
Yes, I did an overseas program from Curtin University of Australia.
And why did you choose to stay here and complete your education?
Dual reasons. First reason being that I actually have had my business for now almost 10 years.
Right.
So I was already studying as well as working on the side.
Right.
That was one of the reasons. And secondly, I personally thought that I could maybe do a bit more over here because the market over here was much more open.
Right.
People say that there are so many problems over here. I would like to look at them as opportunities. So hence I stayed back over here and Alhamdulillah things have been going well.
Because you're more familiar with how things are here. Right?
Exactly.
So why did you choose IT over other fields?
I guess that takes me back to the past again. After I did my inter, I believe, I was supposed to become a chartered accountant.
Right.
But at that time, the IT boom was in, so everybody was like, "It karna hai," or "IT karna hai," you know how it goes. So I actually looked into it, interested me a bit, and during that phase is when I actually was getting job offers already because I used to do this website designing and all of that on the side.
Right.
So I saw that if this could actually bring in money quicker, faster, so obviously at that age, that kind of had its own charm.
Who wouldn't like money at that age?
There you go. So from that point onwards, I guess I shifted directions completely. And Alhamdulillah, as I said, it's going well.
Right. So your first job was at a very early age of about, I guess, 18 or 19?
Yes.
How did it feel to be working at such an age? Because normally at this age, kids are more focused on choosing what careers to go for.
I don't know, maybe you can put me in the geek or nerd kind of a box over here for that one. But I was actually at an institute over here. It had launched recently at that time called Arena Multimedia.
Yeah.
So I was a student over there. But turns out in the first 3 months that I was studying over there, nothing that they actually taught me was something which I didn't already know.
Yeah.
So when that kept on happening again and again, turns out that they offered me a job instead. They said, if you already know what we were teaching over here, why don't you teach 2 batches? So I started from there. And then things started snowballing from after that because when I was teaching there, some big multinational corporation guy, he came in.
Right.
He said, why don't you join us? And from there onwards, things, one by one.
Right. So you started off as an employee.
Yes.
And then you switched to being an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Why? What was the reason behind this switch?
I guess being your own boss is something that everybody
enjoys and dreams of.
Exactly. So at that point in time, what happened was that I think in my second job, it had been already 2.5 years. And at that point in time, my first employer actually came to me and said, what you're doing right now, I want to do something similar. Can you do the same thing for me? Set up a company for me. And I was like, sure, we can do that. But one condition, you actually pay us XYZ amount in advance and whatnot. So when that actually materialized, and I frankly did not expect it to,
right.
I saw the opportunity for doing things on my own time, in my own way. And the flexibility of that was amazing because, as you said, since 18 years of age, if you're working, so the freedom of now having no timings and you can wake up when you want, sleep when you want, as long as you get the work done.
Yeah.
I jumped to the opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a dream come true.
Yeah.
Okay. So Faizan, who has been your inspiration during all this time?
I actually looked at at that time it was people from Google. it was people like Steve Jobs and obviously Bill Gates,
Right.
because these were the people that were doing different things at that time. 10, 12 years ago, there was no Facebook, there was no Orkut.
Yeah.
So obviously what people look up to at this point in time, non-existent at that time. So obviously, if you're using a Windows computer, I couldn't afford Macs, obviously. So if you're using a Windows computer, and the guy who actually made that possible, and there was, I think, even a movie called Pirates of Silicon Valley based on this story.
Yeah.
So when you look at all of that, these guys sort of inspired me. Okay, fine, maybe I can't be as big as them, but heck, let's try.
Okay, just gave you an idea.
Yeah.
Right. So, Faizan, what according to you are the 3 success factors in your life?
Hard work, persistence, and being very, very thick-skinned. Frankly, that has worked for me, because I don't see anybody who, see, entrepreneurship, as people call it, is not that easy. It can look like, oh wow, you have your own flexible times, you're your own boss, you don't have to answer to anyone, and all of the money you make, you get to take home.
It's a whole big of responsibility.
Exactly. So it's like that Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
So that kind of a thing happening there. So if you're not thick-skinned, you'll possibly after the first year or maybe 2, you'll give up. And I think that worked for me because I'm very thick-skinned like that.
Have you ever had a fear of failure? Has that affected you in any case? At any point in time?
I would like to say no. But definitely, I mean, fear, I think, is a driving force. I actually look forward. If I'm fearful of something, that lets me know that things can go wrong, and I'm extra careful going down that road. So I think I use it as a method of making good decisions.
Okay.
So I welcome fear. It actually works for our benefit.
All right. But then moving on, what are your hobbies or interests other than the work that you're already involved in?
Well, I frankly, for 8 years, I had no hobbies or interests. I didn't take a vacation in almost 8 years. But now, definitely, I'm actually going back to stuff like, I don't know, reading books is something which seems old-fashioned. But now I think I enjoy it much more, because I'm spending so much time in front of my laptop and smartphones and everything, holding a book in your hand and actually going through stuff like local authors, even Farhad Karam Ali, he did Pakht Theory recently. So it was an amazing experience to actually hold a book in your hand and turn the pages going through that. So I've gotten back into the habit of reading. Obviously, since I have to focus on the entrepreneurial side of it, I do take up business topics. I do go out and meet people who are similar interests. I try to mix business with pleasure that way. So I think those would be my only hobbies at this time.
It still is work related.
Yeah, think of it like, as it's called, the businessman's holiday. If you give a businessman a week off, he's going to spend that working at his home maybe.
Right.
So think of it like that. So I don't know, I enjoy it, I guess. Work isn't as much of work as people would think it to be.
Okay.
Work is fun for me.
Right. Faizan, and your future plans, where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be?
Where do I want to be? Well, frankly, I don't decide that much, think of the future that much, frankly. I could only maybe say that 6 months down the line, a year down the line, I would like to have made Textually, which is like a 3-month-old company. Maybe make it one of the most recognizable brands for SMS interaction systems in Pakistan. If you ask me, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Sky's the limit. I have no idea. We just wait and see.
So you choose to go with the flow?
Somewhat, because the market nowadays, frankly, is very volatile.
It is.
So I can only expect things to go my way, but from experience, I can see that usually, there are external factors that make it go sideways.
Right.
So I'd rather not say.
Okay. Faizan, in the end, your message for the nation of Pakistan, particularly the youth?
Well, frankly, stop complaining. That's one thing. Because I see that people spend a lot of time complaining about things that they don't have, which they can't get or they can't get done. I believe that you're either part of the solution or the problem. So if you're not solving anything, then you are the problem. So frankly, I would say stop complaining, do what you have to do, put your head down, and inshallah you'll get it done. And nobody can stop you there.
Thank you so much, Faizan. It was great talking to you. For more profiles, visit our website pakistaniprofiles.com.